Welcome back, everybody, to a new episode of Manuel's favorite podcast, Culture Church. Right, Manny? You don't even know what the podcast is called.
Bruh, who are you?
What even are you?
At least you came.
Why even here?
I know, at least you showed up. Jeez. God.
Second week in a row.
And see, second week in a row without a mask.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. We're proud of you.
This is a new you. New year, new you.
Mm-hmm. New year, new menu.
Got a brand new mic as well.
I know.
Man, I'm telling you, he's going to be married in a couple months. I can feel it.
To a male or a female? We'll find out. Stay tuned.
All right. So we left off in Samuel. We just started Samuel. And
we meet Samuel.
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 Sam.
So Israel is losing to the Philistines.
When aren't they?
Yeah. It's their new mortal enemy now.
Mm-hmm.
And so
they capture something very important.
yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And so for some reason they thought it'd be a good idea to bring the Ark of the Covenant to the battlefield.
I mean, I get why they would do that. I see
Protection? Or no?
Maybe they're like, let's bring God
Victory?
with us. I guess. Let's bring the presence with us.
Yeah, because we don't have him because we've turned from him. Or what?
Maybe.
Maybe he'll come through for us.
I don't know. But they shouldn't have done that. But they were in battle, and the Philistines took the Ark of the Covenant.
Dun, dun, dun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So remember last week when we told you that we were going to tell you how Eli and his kids would die?
Oh,
Yeah, the prophet was right.
as all prophets are.
Well, debatable. So, I think, Eli's kids were the ones who brought the ark, and so they died in the battle.
Yes.
And that was the dumbest thing. And then Eli later finds out that they took the ark and that they stole it.
Mm-hmm.
And so in his surprise,
On his watch.
he pretty much falls over and breaks his neck and dies.
That's a rough way to go.
Isn't that instant though?
No.
No?
Well, it depends how he fell. Because he was 98.
So, ya está viejito.
Mm-hmm.
So Eli falls over and dies.
Man, stop smiling. That's sad.
You're horrible, man. So the Philistines take the ark and they take it to the pagan temple of theirs and they leave it there, right? I think they pretty much classify it as this is your god. Your god's in here, so let me put him next to where all our other gods are at. And so
Yeah, what they say when they took it, when they brought it in, they're like, we have another god for our camp.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. You think God was do you think God was still there in the ark? Do you know what I mean?
No, the ark is just a symbol.
Yeah, right. I don't think he was actually.
Like he wasn't chilling in the ark.
Right. It just has power because he gives it power. But it's just a symbol, it's symbolic.
It's like anointing oil nowadays.
Yeah.
It's not really about the oil. It's just a symbol for all you people.
But because the Philistines, they believe that the Israelites use this as an idol, then that's why they pretty much leave it at the pagan temple because they just think of it as another god.
Mm-hmm.
But a funny thing happens that when they leave it there, God pretty much knocks the statue over, which is called Dagon, and he knocks him over in a bowing like posture, pretty much bowing to God, even though God's not even there. Well, it's what the symbolic nature of it, but and so they pretty much chalk it up to coincidence. Maybe he just fell down, whatever. So They leave him there again, and God knocks it over again. But then he also breaks the legs and the arms,
Mm-hmm.
and he puts the legs and the arms in the entrance of the temple. And so then they think, oh, okay, yes,
Get
it's not
this.
coincidence.
Get out of here.
Get it out of here.
Yeah, and so this goes on. Oh well, they pretty much transfer the ark within like 5 other towns of the same Philistine city, and this goes on for 7 months. And so every town the ark is parked at, the people there get plagues and tumors.
Good.
Yeah. And so finally the Philistines are like, you know what, we have to give this thing back because it's causing us a bunch of trouble. And they decide to give gifts as well to please their God. But so they try to give the altar back, and they try to take it back to the sacred city or whatever, but they didn't make it that far because I think that city was still taken over by the Philistines. So they I forget what city it stays at. I'm not too sure, but so the way they send it, it's crazy. They send it in cows.
Oh, the field of Joshua of Beth Shemesh. Yeah, and there it stops besides a large rock.
Yeah, the crazy thing is that when they send it with the cows, when they finally get the ark back, they use the cows to sacrifice.
No.
But it's against the law because they can't sacrifice female animals. And so, crazy thing too, that the people who looked at the ark died.
Did.
And the reason why they send it with the cows, which was kind of interesting, they sent it with the cows because they know that if they send a cow off, it would always come back because it would want to go back to her cubs or calves. Sorry, but it didn't. It kept going, so that they knew that this was something else. This was definitely like God type thing, because they knew the cows should have come back, but they didn't. Very clever way of finding out. But yeah, so people who looked at the ark died. So I'm pretty sure they had it covered whenever they were transporting it. Cause damn, just looking at it, jeez. Yeah, because the pocket lady says, she was like, even an unintentional sin is sin. I think she even gives the example of like when you don't know the speed limit of an area and you get stopped, like you're still gonna get a ticket if you don't get a warning, because even though you don't know what the speed limit is, you still went over. Like you still broke the law. So yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And so the ark stayed in Sirath Garam. And it stayed there for 20 years. Dang. Isn't that the city that was blessed by the ark being there? Not too sure. Yeah. So then we jump to Samuel, right?
Somewhat.
So Samuel, he is the top dog now. He is the prophet and the judge. And so he has 2 kids, Joel and Abijah. Yeah. And so Samuel's getting old, and the people of Israel don't think that his kids are going to be good leaders. So the people out there are crying out for a king.
We want a king.
What?
No, it's like they ask for more leaders and rulers, but they just went through how many judges did they go through? And they still want somebody else?
Yeah, but it's not a king though.
And even he warns them. He's like, are you sure you want it? You're going to have to go through taxes. You're going to have to go through this, through that. You still want it? They're like, yeah, we want a king. You know, I would have heard taxes and be like, no.
No, I'm good.
I'm good.
So they're the reason.
Pretty much.
Dang it.
So Samuel talks to God, and God's like, "Well, if they want a king, give them a king."
So God kind of like not gave up, but just like
Kind of like let them learn.
let them just do it. I've tried. How many years? Hundreds of years already.
Yeah, God's probably like, "Well, let's try something different." He knows what he's doing, but it's like, okay, they want this, so I think he's letting them fail so that they can learn.
Yeah,
But they still don't.
But they don't learn.
but they still.
So Sammy's out there. God tells him that he's going to go meet the new king.
Mm-hmm.
So he tells him,
this time tomorrow, a man's gonna come to you, right?
and who is it?
Saul.
And from the tribe of
Benjamin. Yes. Tall and handsome.
But it's funny that they he looks like a king, but like he has these character defects, and God knows this too. And so, but I mean, they still choose him because that's what the people want. Can only imagine what the people of Israel would be if they didn't have a king and they just followed God. Probably be ruling this whole earth or something.
Mm-hmm.
But so Saul is Benjamin, tall and handsome.
Mm-hmm.
And then so Samuel anoints him, like he takes him out for a walk.
Just casual.
Yeah.
Hey, let me.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of the Nacho with the skeleto. He walks by with the bowl and
It's like,
baptize them.
it reminds me of that. But he
I
tells
only
them,
believe in science.
but he tells Saul, like, we have to do this in public too, but this is a God thing first, and then we'll do it in public.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel even more than Samson and Gideon, I feel much like more bad for Saul, because what happens when they go into the public setting, right? When he tries to present them to the people,
he's like hiding.
He hides.
He's fearful and reluctant.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do it. They're making him do this, and he has to kind of like step up to the plate and like handle this whole situation.
It reminds me of Gideon, because basically he was telling Saul, "Hey, you're going to be the king," and he kind of responded like Gideon, like, "I'm from this one of the what is that
smallest tribes.
Smallest tribes. Like,
smallest tribe.
What do you see in me? Basically, like, what do you say such a thing to me, or why do you say that?"
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Saul wasn't like the least of his tribe, but it's still.
I mean, at this point, Benjamin's still pretty small, right? This was after the massacre.
Yeah.
But as far as like Saul, I don't think if he says he was like tall and handsome, whatever, he's probably taller than most of the people, because I'm pretty sure they're short. What, Daniel?
You like tall and handsome?
Whoa, man! It's a Christian podcast.
Okay, each his own, I guess, man.
So,
you better watch these.
We'll probably get more views just because.
Thanks. I guess.
So, Saul gets anointed, and he's filled with the Spirit.
Amen.
And so he gets his first victory. I think it's from the tribe of Dan. The tribe of Dan, they try to flee the Philistine towns over there, and for some reason the Philistines gouge out one of their eyes, so they become like these pirates or something. And so Saul gets word of this, and that's when he goes over to defeat them, and that's his first victory.
And the people love him.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
real quick, do you think that set the precedent for when Jesus came? They wanted a Saul. Because they expected somebody like this to fit this profile. And they got someone in a manger.
Well, I mean, you could make the argument for David. David's probably more of a Christ-like because he's a shepherd.
Maybe.
But yes, to your question, yes, they probably expected someone like Saul.
Yeah.
As far as appearance goes, not.
What was the appearance, Manuel?
Tell me the answer. Oh man, you changed. You took off your mask.
Ever since he took it off, he's speaking his mind now.
It's too much speaking in your mind, man.
Yeah, totally.
Chill, bro. Chill.
You need to lose your brain.
Be like Saul. Lose your brain. Anyways, a little foreshadowing there. But so I think I think most of the leadership pretty much approves of Saul being the leader. Not all of them, but most of them.
Yeah, I mean, it says here, then the people shouted, "Long live the king."
Yeah.
I mean, he was king for a while. What, 70 years? 70 something years?
And so that pretty much meant that Samuel retired as judge because you don't need him anymore. He's just a prophet now. But so I think, I don't know. I like I said, I feel bad for Saul because you see in the beginning that he didn't want to do this. He had to kind of fake it till he made it. It kind of reminds me of like these kids in college and high school that are tall and they think, oh, you're tall, so you can play basketball or whatever. And so they put them through the ringer, right? And they're hoping that because they're athletic ability and them being tall, they can easily make it to the NBA. And when they finally do, what happens? They're dud.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I think happens with Saul. I think he tries too hard because people expect so much of him. And it's a lot to expect from a first king because you pretty much set the precedent for the rest of the people who. And if you set it low, like anybody can top you if you suck. So it's a lot of pressure for him. I think the people of Israel caused Saul to lose his mind.
Also, too, I think the involuntary worship of Saul kind of really affected him too. Because if you look at chapter 10, it mentions that who says it to him that there's no one like Saul. That's when they're like, all praise the king or something like that.
Mm.
Right.
So I mean, from the beginning, yeah, well, that too, but from the beginning, he didn't want this, and now he's getting it. So I don't think he knew how to process all this. Like, what would I do with all this? You know?
Well, yeah. There's no one to follow. He's the first one. There's no one to follow in their footsteps.
Yeah, that's why I don't know. I even kind of criticize God too, in the sense where.
No wonder you're lukewarm.
And so I kind of criticize God too because he knew that by choosing Saul, this was going to happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, just like any of these stories, he knows what's going to happen. He knows. He's just, his will's going to be done. He uses them in their weakness and in their strength for what he wants to accomplish.
But also, even though I kind of criticize God, I always think it's still in the person because they decide to do these things.
Mm-hmm.
Like, God doesn't make them. God just puts you in the position to choose. And if you choose wrong, then...
Yeah, it goes back to the garden, the fall. God didn't make them take the apple. He just put them in that spot.
Right. So...
Women.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Saul has a son named Jonathan.
Oh, he's so nice.
Yeah, good kid.
He's so loyal. That's the kind of friend you need, guys. A loyal Jonathan. Yes. Wow.
Yep.
So the Philistines are pretty much breathing down Saul's neck because pretty much all of Saul's reign is just fighting the Philistines.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
Like business as usual. It's crazy because in one of the battles, pretty much all of Saul's army is hiding, because I'm pretty sure it's not that many people. And so there's this battle where Saul gets impatient, right? Because he's waiting for Samuel to come and direct them on what they need to do next. And so
He's sacrificing.
he gets impatient. He offers up a blood sacrifice to God.
But only Samuel can do it.
Right. And so only a priest could do it, which is Samuel. And so...
And then he shows up right after.
Yeah, but isn't that typical for like everything? You think you are trying to wait, you're waiting for God, but then you get impatient and you take things in your own hands, and then what happens next? God was already going to follow through, but you just need to be patient.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's pretty much the same trope we see pretty much in the whole Bible. And so, yeah, I mean, then that's when God decides that he will no longer have God's blessing, God's anointing to be the king. Dang. And that was short-lived too. But so Saul's reign is over, and the people, and so Saul just gets crazy, right? Because then during the battle, he tells his soldiers to not eat, to fast.
Oh yeah.
And so,
but Jonathan doesn't know this.
Yeah, he doesn't know, and he eats honey when they were told to fast. And but the people, the soldiers, they stop Saul from killing his own son. And so, but despite that, Saul keeps winning the battles.
Yeah,
because I think the whole point still is that Israel has to be still winning. So, despite Saul's shortcomings and character defects and flaws, and God still is going to use him. So Saul then defeats the Amalekites, is the people from the beginning. Remember when they exit Egypt? Those were the first people they fought, and they never eradicated them. So I mean, they're still fighting them. So Saul takes the king and the animals. And they later find out that many of the Amalekites are still alive. And so I think, I know I said this before, and I probably get it from here, where it says that sacrifice is not a replacement for obedience. Saul tried to do things his own way instead of obeying God. And that's pretty much was his downfall.
And it says that the Lord said to Manu, I regret that I made Saul king. But I think, what did the lady say? I was trying to remember. Regret isn't like, or what I read is, I don't think God actually regrets. He's just sad about it. Disappointed. There you go. I think that's how she translated it. Because God, he doesn't change his mind. He can't. And
I think when God told Samuel that, he realized he messed up. He was like, crap. Because it says right here, Samuel was angry and he cried out to the Lord all that night.
Yeah, it sucks. I don't know.
Like to have the anointing and the backing of the Lord and to lose it. I mean, I get his intention. Because, of course, back in that time, sacrifice was the way to go. But if God tells you, destroy them all, destroy it all.
Yep. That's why obedience is better than sacrifice. So Samuel is called by God to go find a new king. And so Samuel goes to Jesse because he has a bunch of kids. And so Samuel meets them all. Then God tells him, well, it's none of these guys. And so Samuel says, hey, do you have any other kids? Yeah, there's this one kid I have. He's a shepherd, though. He's out in the field. He's working. But if you want to meet him, then sure. Can bring him over here. And so as soon as he does, he sees him. God tells Samuel, yeah, that's the guy. That's the next king. So Samuel anoints David as the new king. And as soon as it happens, the Spirit of God leaves Saul
and
and
enters
goes to
David.
David.
That's crazy.
But the even crazier part is that because the Spirit of God leaves Saul, an evil
spirit enters
goes
him.
into
That just proves to show that there's only room for one spirit in us. And it ain't the Holy Spirit, it's another kind of spirit.
I know what spirit you have. You better check your spirit.
Exactly. It ain't God. It ain't God.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's just sad. It's all in all just sad because I think Saul really.
It just goes downhill from here.
But I think his intentions were to be the best king he could be.
Mm-hmm.
I think. But because of the pressure of being the first king, I think they had like all these other kings that they've battled against as a reference of how to be a kingdom. And it's all bad, right? But that's the only reference they have. But again, it goes back to choice. He should have just obeyed God.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's so sad.
Saul just kept making excuses. Like, oh, before Samuel told him, he's like, yeah, I did do what the Lord told me to do. Like, I did do it.
Yeah.
I'd sacrifice this thing. I'm good.
I took the animals, but then I sacrificed them, but it was because they're bad, and you just kept building upon the line.
I did obey. Yeah. Nope. Sucks.
Poor guy. But
he tries to get relief from that evil spirit.
Yes.
And how does he do that?
With David playing.
So he doesn't know that Samuel anointed David.
Right.
Right.
He just later. Knows he's a shepherd boy with, what is it called? The lyre?
Lyre. And whenever he plays, that's how filled he is of the spirit, that whenever he plays, it casts out the spirit of whatever Saul has.
So you're saying the worship cast out spirits.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Let's pod.
So yeah, they bring David because he's also a musician.
Mm-hmm.
So in the Philistines,
he did it without in-ears or a click. Dang!
Wow,
I knew it.
So the Philistines are back again. Oh, these people! And so there's this battle that they're having where they want to do one-on-one competition,
combat. Yeah.
But the Philistines, they drag out their top guy, which is a giant. His name's Goliath. So yeah, of course he's beating everybody. It's like double the size or even triple the size of some of these Israelites.
What was his height?
Did it say? Sure. I don't think it said. Look at it. Oh yes.
9 feet.
6 cubits.
Which translates
9 feet.
9 feet tall.
Oh my god.
But that's smaller than that King Og, which was 14 feet.
Oh yeah.
But it's from the same, I think, genetic line of giants that Rephaim. I think Goliath was a Rephaim as well.
Oh.
And so David is out working in the field, and he's out there soothing Saul.
He has 2 jobs.
Yeah.
Dang.
So then his dad's like, "Hey, go and take your brother some food out in the field because they've been fighting over there for 6 weeks. So take him some food." And so David goes to the battlefield, and he sees that this Goliath guy is mocking Israel. And so he asks, "Hey, so why is this guy still alive?" And because we're doing a one-on-one battle. So the prize is whoever defeats Goliath gets Saul's daughter in marriage. And I don't think David cared. He just wanted to defeat him because he was mocking the people of Israel, right?
I mean, he was really young. I don't even think. Doesn't say how old he was, right?
No.
Let me focus.
So yeah, when Saul finds out that it's David who wants a chance at Goliath, he's like, "What? The musician guy? Like that guy wants at it? Like, okay, whatever." But little does he know David has the
spirit
and a slingshot and a rock.
That. And they offer him the armor, and he's like, "Nah, I'm good."
Nah, I'm good, fam.
Got the armor of the Lord. The armor of the Lord. Right. What do you think, Manny? First time, nothing to say. Jeez.
Well,
hope we don't go back to the old man.
He's still thinking of that tall and handsome description from earlier.
Wow. So, David defeats Goliath with one swing of his slingshot. Hits Goliath right in the middle of his eyes.
Between the eyes, huh?
And then once he comes down, he decapitates him.
And takes it to Saul, right?
Yeah, well, he takes his head as a trophy.
Yeah, the head.
Mm-hmm.
So then that makes David famous. And Saul does not like that at all. And so I think this is when that demon starts to get more riled up in Saul.
Mm-hmm.
He starts to torment him, and Saul tries to kill David. And now David's just running for his life because Saul wants to kill him. He gets him to marry his daughter. And and then because he thinks maybe his daughter can be like the gateway to killing him.
Be like a Delilah.
Right. But she ends up helping him out anyway.
Because she loves him. Oh. Well, also too, because the people were praising David. Mm-hmm. They're saying they would dance and sing, "Saul has slain his thousands, but David has his tens of thousands." So Saul don't like that.
Yeah, he's becoming more famous than Saul.
Mm-hmm.
So, so then Saul's just trying to kill David. And so Saul sets up this dinner because I think he, now with David's fame, he decides to make him like a general. And so he calls all his military leaders to this dinner. And he was surprised when David does not show up. I wonder why.
Mad. Oh, because Jonathan, this whole time, is helping his friend. He rejects his dad, kind of like, you're evil. I don't like what you're doing. I'm going with David. Basically, this whole time. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. I don't know.
I know, even Saul tries to kill his son again. Mm-hmm. Jonathan, poor guy.
He's so nice.
So then we get to, I think this takes place within years, right? Of all this battle and stuff. Mm-hmm. David hiding. So David avoids Saul with the help of Jonathan because he
tells him he's coming. Stuff like that.
And so David keeps running from Saul, and Saul suspects that his people are betraying him because they're not telling him where David is. Like, how do you not find this famous warrior? How does anybody not know where he is? But people know where he is, but they're keeping him safe.
Mm-hmm. He's had a lot of close calls too.
For sure.
With the spear. He tried to spear him and then he dodged.
Yeah.
Yeah. Saul gets a chance to kill David, but because he finally finds out where he's at.
He sees him.
Yeah, but then good on the Philistines. They came back, and then so Saul has to
go fight them.
Again. It's like that. So Saul has to leave, and then so that gives David a chance to escape. But when he leaves, David goes into the city where he was going to as well. And then David finds Saul in a cave taking a dump.
Well, David's in the cave.
Yeah,
deep in the cave.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
People were hiding in the cave.
And then Saul, I guess, it's dark in there. You don't see him. And he's, going in a rush. Mm-hmm. And he cuts off a piece of his cloak.
Just like Saul did to Samuel.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. And all his friends, all his David, his people with him, they told him, go kill him, go, revenge. But David's like, no. And I think God put him to the test too. Like, are you gonna be like Saul and do what you want to do, or are you gonna wait for me to tell you to do?
Yeah, and it's important that he cuts a piece of his guard, because it comes into play later
He shows
on
it.
when he goes, "Look, I had a chance to kill you,
And I did it.
and I didn't, because I respect you as a king. But yeah, I'm not going to be the one that kills you.
No.
So yeah, I know you're trying to kill me, but it's not going to be me."
That's crazy.
So Saul and Jonathan at least acknowledge now that David is going to be the new king.
And so he pleads to him, don't kill my descendants.
Right.
Because obviously that's what you do. And he said, okay.
But unfortunately, once we read on the next part, we're going to read on what happens with them, and it's sad. But I mean, that's pretty typical for the people of Israel. Any final thoughts?
And we read some Psalms.
Oh, the Psalms.
The
Go
Psalms.
for it.
Well, it's how many were there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. And I remember the podcast they was saying it was probably during, all his running around and running away from Saul, or in response to what happened afterward, stuff like that. And what he's basically saying is that he's asking God, in the first 2, I think, he was asking God to punish, I guess Saul, attacking him, trying to kill him, and to turn, wicked onto them. But then in the middle, he's like, he's praising God, like, oh, thank you, and thank you for the stronghold and stuff like that, and just giving us encouragement to dwell in the tent, which is to be nearer to God, as he was doing, because he was probably alone a lot of this time. So, that's all he could cling to. And then, that's it. That's what I saw in the Psalms.
It'd be pretty tough to, at least for me, I don't know what I would think if someone is chasing me down to kill me. Like, I don't know if I'd have that self-awareness to even like write down stuff or cry out to God, or maybe like cry out to God to save me, but to be self-aware enough to know what's going on and to reflect that way. Like, I'd just be hiding, like, oh God, what's going on?
I'd just be scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last thing I think is, I'm trying to fight for my life. Let me write a poem.
Right.
Or maybe he did it afterward.
Maybe.
Either one.
Yeah, maybe he's reflecting on what was going on at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it'd be like something fresh in your mind if you wanted to write down really quick.
Yeah.
But maybe that was just his thing. Maybe because he was a musician,
He was.
He had that ability to do things at once, or
Express himself.
right at the moments where he was being chased, and the only way maybe that he could maybe feel better is by expressing it somehow, and that's through songs and poems and stuff. So yeah, I feel sorry for David, but I mean that's probably going to be the thing we say often, like we feel bad for this person, but I mean yeah. But yeah, any final thoughts? Anything else?
Manuel? Yeah.
That is the most profound thing you've said. Good stuff. JP?
Oh, there's a lot. I know one thing we didn't mention was when Saul was looking for a king, God told him to don't look at the outside appearance, look at the heart.
Yeah.
And that's one big thing, because basically, how do I put this? Should I put this? Beware of people's actions, examine their heart. I could say that. And then 2, when David had the opportunity to kill Saul, it makes me think how much self-control it took to not kill him, because like he's right there. Like if I was David, I would have just like pulled the trigger, or in that day, swiped the sword. So I think that goes back to his relationship with God. He was like, no, I'm not going to do this because God already has this for me, and it's his promises isn't worth the disobedience.
Keyword disobedience, obedience. I think The reason why he didn't do it is because he obeyed in the sense that he didn't hear anything from God to say kill him, even though he had the opportunity to stop the threat. And he didn't do it because he didn't hear from God. God didn't tell him, all right, you have your opportunity. God presented him with an opportunity, but as a test to see if, are you really listening to me, or are you going off your emotions? Because obviously you're being chased, to be killed. But with presented with an opportunity, are you going to take it, or are you going to wait for my direction?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, obedience with David here, in contrast to the disobedience with Saul.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a pretty good takeaway right there, where we finally see someone obey, like actually listen to God.
For now.
Dun, dun, dun.
Tune in next week.
Find out next time.
Take us out, Manuel. And that's a wrap.
Deuces, everybody.